Get out, you old fool!
The rain poured heavily that evening, painting the city streets with silver streaks. Inside a cozy cafe filled with laughter and the smell of fresh pastries, Linda stood behind the counter. Her makeup was flawless, her nails bright, and her pride even brighter. She liked being seen the elegant barista who only smiled for rich customers. The door suddenly opened, and a cold wind blew in along with a frail old man. His clothes were wet and torn, his shoes covered in mud. He clutched his chest and said softly, "Please, my daughter, can I have a cup of warm water?" Linda frowned, her eyes scanning him from head to toe. The customers turned to look. She crossed her arms and said sharply, "Sir, this is a cafe, not a charity house. Please, don't disturb my customers." The man smiled weakly and nodded. "It's all right, my child," he whispered. "May God bless you." Then he turned and walked back into the rain. For a moment, the cafe went silent. A young waiter muttered, "Madam, that was harsh." But Linda waved him off, rolling her eyes. "People like that should learn to stay in their place," she said proudly. Yet, deep inside her, something strange twisted in her chest, a feeling she didn't understand. As the rain continued to fall, the old man stopped at the corner, coughing, staring back through the glass. His eyes were filled not with anger, but sadness. No one in that cafe knew the truth. The man they just humiliated was Chief Raymond, the billionaire father of Linda's fiancé, Michael, believed to have died in a plane crash 10 years ago. If only Linda knew who that old man really was, her words would have never left her lips. The sun was setting when Michael called Linda, his voice filled with excitement. "Baby," he said warmly, "get dressed tonight. I want you to meet someone special." Linda's heart fluttered. Michael was the perfect man, tall, gentle, and successful. She smiled in the mirror as she applied her lipstick. "Maybe tonight he will finally introduce me to his family," she whispered to herself. She slipped into her red gown, the one that always drew stares, and added her favorite gold earrings. Pride shimmered in her eyes like polished glass. That evening, Michael arrived in his black SUV, holding a bouquet of roses. They drove out of the city into a quiet estate surrounded by tall trees. Linda was full of curiosity. "Who are we visiting?" she asked, holding his hand. Michael only smiled and said, "Someone very important to me." When they arrived at the large house, Linda gasped. The gates opened slowly, revealing an old but beautiful mansion. The night air was calm, and the lights glowed softly through the windows. A housekeeper led them to the garden where a man sat quietly, reading. Linda froze. Her heart stopped beating for a moment. The man's face old, tired, and familiar. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "No, it can't be." Michael ran ahead with tears in his eyes and hugged the old man. "Father, you are alive," he cried. "They told me you died in that plane crash, but you're here." Linda stood behind, shaking. The world around her went silent. The man she mocked in the cafe, the one she chased into the rain, was Michael's father. Chief Raymond turned slowly, his eyes meeting hers. The gentle smile on his face disappeared. The silence between them was heavy, too heavy to breathe through. Linda's knees weakened, and in that moment, she wished the ground would open and swallow her whole, because she knew, deep down, that the truth was about to destroy everything she loved. The garden was quiet, except for the faint sound of crickets and the soft rustle of the night wind. Michael held his father tightly, tears of joy streaming down his face. "I thought I lost you forever," he whispered. Chief Raymond smiled faintly, his old hands resting on his son's shoulder. But his eyes were fixed on Linda. Linda stood frozen a few feet away, her heart pounding so hard she could hear it. She forced a weak smile and whispered, "Good evening, sir." But Chief Raymond didn't smile back. He looked at her long and deep, the same way he had looked at her that rainy day. His voice was calm but sharp. slicing through the night air. We've met before, haven't we? Michael turned, confused. You two know each other? Linda's lips trembled. Her throat went dry. She wanted to lie, to pretend, to hide, but the weight of guilt crushed her words. She fell to her knees, tears spilling down her face. Yes, she cried. I met him at the cafe. I didn't know who he was. I thought he was just a poor man. I treated him badly. I'm so sorry. Michael's smile faded instantly. His eyes widened in disbelief. Linda, what did you do? She covered her face, sobbing. I was wrong. I mocked him. I pushed him away. I didn't know. Chief Raymond's face remained calm, but his silence was heavy with disappointment. He slowly stood up, his voice deep and steady. My son, he said, turning to Michael, a person's true heart is not seen in how they treat the powerful, but how they treat the poor. Linda reached for his feet, begging, Please, sir, forgive me. But he gently pulled his leg away and turned to leave. Michael stared at her with eyes full of pain, torn between love and shame. The old man's last words hung in the air like a blade. Beauty fades, wealth changes, but character reveals who we truly are. And as he walked back into the house, Linda's tears fell harder because she knew she might have lost not just his forgiveness, but also Michael's love forever. Days passed, but to Linda, they felt like years. Michael stopped calling. Her phone stayed silent, her heart even quieter. The man who once promised her forever now looked at her like a stranger. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Guilt had become her shadow. One morning, she made a decision. She dressed simply. No makeup, no jewelry, no pride, just a plain gown and a humble heart. She took a cab to Chief Raymond's mansion, her hands trembling the entire ride. When the gatekeeper opened the door, he looked surprised. Madam, are you sure you want to go in? Linda nodded. Please, just tell him I'm here. Inside the compound, she saw Chief Raymond sitting on the balcony, quietly reading a Bible. His face was calm, but his eyes were still cold. She walked closer and knelt before him. Sir, she said softly, I came to say sorry again. Not with words this time, but with actions. From that day, Linda began helping the housekeepers. She swept the compound, washed dishes, served meals, all without being told. Everyone in the mansion whispered, surprised to see the once proud Linda walking like a servant. Yet every day, she did it with a bowed head and quiet tears. One evening, Chief Raymond watched from the window as she scrubbed the garden floor. He walked out and said, Why are you doing this? Linda looked up, her eyes red. Because I hurt you, sir. I hurt Michael. I thought I was beautiful, but I was empty inside. I came to learn humility. The old man stared at her for a long time. Do you think hard work can buy forgiveness? She shook her head. No, sir, but maybe it can show that I've changed. He turned slowly and walked back inside without a word. But as he closed the door, a small tear rolled down his cheek. For the first time, he saw not pride in Linda's eyes, but true remorse. That night, Michael returned home and saw her cleaning. Their eyes met. Neither spoke, but in that silence, something began to heal. The morning sun poured through the tall windows of Chief Raymond's mansion, casting warm golden light across the marble floors. Linda knelt in the garden, hands wet from scrubbing the fountain, her back stiff from hours of labor. She looked up as Michael approached, his face serious but soft with something she couldn't yet name. He stopped a few steps away. Linda, he said carefully, my father has asked me to bring you here. Her heart skipped. She rose slowly, wiping her hands on a cloth. Inside, Chief Raymond sat in his grand chair, his expression calm but his gaze steady. Linda, he began, you've shown me something I rarely see: humility, remorse, and courage. It is not enough that you apologize with words. You have proven it with actions. Linda's knees shook. Tears welled in her eyes. Sir, I don't deserve forgiveness. I don't even deserve Michael's love anymore. But I swear, I've learned pride destroys hearts. Michael stepped closer, his voice soft. Linda, I saw how you've changed. And I know you truly care now. His hand reached for hers. She trembled as their fingers touched. Chief Raymond's eyes softened. When I lost everything years ago, I learned that wealth and power are empty without love and respect. Today, I see that you understand this lesson. You may stand beside my son. Linda's heart leapt. She looked at Michael, then at the man she once insulted so cruelly. Thank you, sir. I will never forget this lesson. I promise to always be humble, to value kindness over pride. Chief Raymond smiled faintly and stood. Then, let this be a new beginning. Michael, take care of her. And Linda, take care of your heart. Let it guide you, not arrogance. As Michael took her hand, the mansion seemed to breathe with relief and peace. Outside, the city buzzed with its usual chaos, but inside, a family was whole again. Linda had been humbled, forgiven, and given a second chance, a chance she would never waste. Weeks later, Linda returned to the cafe, not as a proud woman, but as someone who understood the power of compassion. She served water to those in need, smiled at strangers, and carried herself with quiet dignity. She remembered Chief Raymond's words every day. Pride blinds, humility opens your eyes. And for Linda, those words had become her truth.